All right. Hey, everybody, I'm Shane.
You just interrupted my... Hey, I'm Lex.
Oh, I interrupted your swallowing?
My swallow of my drink, yeah. Hey, advanced.
Sorry, how rude of me.
I know.
It's good to hang out with Lex again. It's been a while, everybody. Cheers.
Skull.
We're going to talk about advanced filtering. All right, folks, listen up. Listen up. We're going to...
Listen.
Tired of looking at... Occasionally, someone will let us look at their environment, and we'll see the same... We'll see somebody that has 40 collections, and 8 of them are Firefox this version, Firefox that version, and they're not using reports.
Yep,
you know, it's like, okay, everybody,
variables, filters, that kind of thing. So we're going to jump and show you how to do that to make your lives easier, and it doesn't hurt our eyes as much when we're out on site with you guys. So
you know what? I just thought of that. There's a great song called from Corb Lund called "Hard on Equipment." Check it out. It's about the person that uses the wrong tool for everything. You know, pliers for a wrench and a wrench for a hammer and a hammer for everything else, or something like that. There's proper tools here, folks, and we're gonna talk about how you can use the power of filtering. So first of all, let's cover a basic one called variables. What's so important about using variables, Lex?
Well, the nice thing about variables is, one, I can set it up, and let's say I have 4 or 5 collections and a report, and I need to change the value right there. I can change it once, and it will change for all of the collections and reports and stuff. And so I built actually a VMware collection that's based off of this value.
All right. So if you have multiple collections and multiple reports that use the same version, the next time a version comes out, you have to go change all of those versions and all those filters, unless you plan ahead and use a variable, right?
Absolutely. Now, right here, just want you guys to notice this @ sign and the parentheses. Since I can't type, I like to copy and paste, but this is what I built. So I picked out VMware tools, and so here's all the tools. Here's the latest version. Here's an older version. And if you open these up, you'll notice right here, there's my reference to my variable.
All right, so here we're using the comparison. Version is not lower, but there's that. There is. Now, if you, by the way, we made this. We made this so that if you hover over the little variable X sign, you'll actually see what that value is at that moment.
Absolutely. I also put it in the description so I could tell at a glance what that variable is.
Yeah. So when you see the description is one of those fields where we will expand. Just so you know, we will expand the variable. So here, VMware tools version or higher. The or higher is important.
Depending on your
when you use the not lower than. Remember, you may not be right on top of this. A new version might come out. If you're using version equals, and we'll just be easy, version equals 10, and then version 11 comes out. That version 11 is not going to be in this latest collection because you used version equals, so it doesn't equal 10. So if you do version is not lower than 10, then it will also include those that are later, and you're not going to. It's just going to help generally. Obviously, there's proper use cases for equals, but
absolutely. So as you can see, I've got 23. Well, guess what, guys? There is a new version, and since I can't type, again, I'm the copy and paste master.
Hey, copy and paste is one of the best things ever invented.
Love it. So all I've got to do, you'll notice 23, and I wish there were more of these, so it'd be a little more drastic of a change, but you'll get to see it anyway. Anywho, my variables, I'm going to go paste in right there. There's a new version.
Close it. Yeah, there's no save.
No save, just close it. And this should update.
You'll see
membership updating right there. I guess I could.
And now it's just, and the cool thing about it is any reports that you got, any other collections that use this are in fact being evaluated right now.
So check this. I've got 22 now. I used to have 23.
22 that have this latest version.
Version 10.2 or better, right? I've got one that's got an older version. Okay. Now I want to show you the reports too, because I've made reports for this. So I've got the original report. This is the one. Okay, there it is. 23 machines, which is not correct because I hard-coded the filter right there. We go. Right there. I hard-coded that in. So if I forget to do this, I'm going to have a bad report.
Going to have a bad time. South Park reference.
Exactly. So the one that I did that has the variable in it.
Click to find. There we go.
Oh, right there. You'll notice I'm referencing there too.
And so this one should have the 22, right?
Absolutely.
So if we run this, once again, you'll see 22 computers. Perfect. So obviously the takeaway is use those variables. And Lex mentioned the at. Any variable that begins with at, that's what's known as a custom variable. It's a variable that you set. If you look at the system variables,
There's that at.
yep. If you look at system variables, they're grayed out. These are the ones that we set, and those begin with a $sign. Still with a $sign and then open close paren.
You can use those if you want to.
Absolutely, you can use them, but they're controlled by us. So these are what the collection library uses. As there's like a new version of Adobe Reader or something, then we will just change that here. As long as you have an active license, then your collection library will show that. But yes, you absolutely can use those system variables. Just keep in mind that they might change before you're ready to apply that. So if you're looking for the latest version of Adobe and you're using our variable and a new version comes out, it's gonna reflect that. But maybe you are 2 or 3 weeks behind. You want to test it out. At that point, you might want to use a custom variable.
Now, I just want to point something out because, you got to admit, that is kind of cool. Because, look, also VMware tools, I've got virtual machines and physical machines, which you want. Awesome, huh? Yeah, I didn't make this on my own, man. I copied and pasted. I duplicated the Chrome. Just right there. The whole thing. Grabbed it, duplicated, changed it.
We'll show you duplicating. Do we have? By the way, if you have any questions, by all means, throw down.
Dear Shane and Lex, can you update custom variables through command line, or can you have a custom version variable linked to a package you manually approve? Thanks, Brian G.
Keep that question up there for a second, please. Damn, my glasses suck.
You got like 5 fingerprints on there. I can see it from here, dude.
Your hands are all over my face. All right, so can you? Did you want to? While I'm reading that, you anything you want to pipe in there, Colbster? We have Colby on the phone, a friend.
Yes, we do have commands to update custom variables on the command line, I believe, for both products. As far as a variable linked to a package, no, there's no package level variables, only global variables.
All right. So, and by the way, the only reason that worked is because we had that in our
Environment
path.
variable, yeah.
There's another way to open that up. I'll show you.
Well,
By running, in this case, in the context of PDQ inventory, when Lex ran PDQ inventory, it shows effectively the usage statement. And there is one called update custom variable. So you could actually do, PDQ inventory. I'm going to just close this and just show you this. If you guys go to health
There's a lot.
and say open elevated command prompt, that actually takes you
to the right spot. Wow. Okay.
And then stuff like, auto complete. I can
Autofill.
hit tab over there. Just throwing that out for you. Otherwise, just make sure it's in your path statement. Do we put that in the path when we install it? I don't think we do.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, good deal. And then, it was update custom variable. So you can look at an additional update custom variable. You can look at additional usage statement, narrowing it down by just typing that in, and then it will tell you parameter name is required, and they'll give you the example. You want the custom variable, the name, the string, and then dash value. So the string is the name, and then dash value is whatever value you want to put in there.
Yep.
So the answer is yes. The next question, there was 2 parters. There was a stuffed one. What was the next one? Pop it up. Tell me to hold tight, JJ. All right, or I guess we could just negate it with or. Well, we already the first one was true, so we don't have to. We're talking custom filters. Let's go ahead and evaluate it like a custom filter. Or can you have a custom version variable linked to a package you manually approve? I don't think so, but you could still use the. You could kind of achieve what you're looking for, Brian, by using the command line. So that you don't have to open up, deploy, and inventory. But no, I don't think so.
I like that. That was a definite. No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't. Every now and then I'll find out that there's a feature that I didn't know about. It's like,
What?
Damn, I didn't know that. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Do you have another question? Or you want us to keep moving?
Okay. Question.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to see the amount of results it is going to generate when setting up the filters? There are times where I had the filter set up somewhat wrong and got either what I was filtering out or no results at all. Thanks, sincerely, Nikki Minaj.
Congratulations on your change of career. All right, so no, there's not, but there's a way still to get what you want.
Exactly.
So no, when you're typing in the filters, you don't get to see a
23 records.
Yeah, this
22 records. Yeah.
this returns that. But there is still a way to do it. Whether it's collections, I kind of like reports because reports are so easy. So if you don't mind, I'll just quickly go into a report. I'm going to click on a new report, basic report. It might be out of the window there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, JJ. What do you mean apologies in JJ? Sorry to the users. I don't care about JJ. In fact, I actually take a lot
Of pride.
Schadenfreude
I was quite
when he's disappointed. Like the only thing that enriches my life. All right, so here we're just going to call this one. We'll just go with Chrome. So here, computer name. We usually just when you
Leave
open
that
it,
in there,
we say, hey, do you want the computer name? Remember, the columns are what you want displayed. This is what separates. One of the biggest things that separates a report from a collection is a report. A collection is all based on a computer. So effectively, there's just the computer that is in the column there. Anyway, we want to show application. We're going to go to a different table. Application name. So I can say, go to filters, create a new value filter, change this to application. And this is what I can just say, I want to know, should I use contains or begins with? I'm just going to say Chrome. So it's comparison is Chrome. I can just run that, shows it 22, and I can just click on define report and modify it some more. Maybe I want to do starts with.
You know, generally what happens when I'm doing these, and I'm with you, Shane, I like doing reports to figure out filters. I can't spell anything right, guys.
By the way, it starts with will not return what you think because it begins with Google Chrome.
Yep.
This is another way. Oh wait, nothing is returned. That's where you can go to the cheat sheet. Remember, computers that you have inventory, you can go and take a look at their inventory. But it's Google Chrome.
Could you do a regular expression here?
You want to jump into regular expressions already?
Do you want to do it?
It's probably not the best example, but
Okay,
yes.
well.
Regular expressions. A lot of people get a little afraid of also known as regex. They get a little afraid of regular expressions. The reason why we add them, obviously, there are times you just really need that power. When you're doing a simple search for a string, it's not that
so much.
important. But if you are doing something where you want to say, I want to know which machines have maybe Google Chrome, or they have and or Firefox, and while you can do that with two filters, say you could say application name starts with Google Chrome, create a new group filter, and under this group filter, say application name, contains Firefox.
Now, I just want to point out that
I'm
all right there.
I'm going to actually change this too. I like to do this. It's important. It is important to keep a lot of these at the same level.
Absolutely.
It just depends. It just kind of depends on your use. So here we're going to change this top group to any application name. So if either of these are true, so it could have either or both, then this is a way of saying, yeah, these machines have Firefox, these machines have Chrome.
So basically back here, this any is an or. It
Yeah,
has this
any of those
or this.
any of those subgroups need to return true in order for this to work. But if you wanted to simplify this, remember there's two versions of simple. There's simple for you, and then there's simple for the person that follows you in your job. This is fairly easy to read, right? Logically, it makes sense. You have the indents. I can look at this and go, oh, this is looking for any computer that they have to have either Chrome or Firefox or both. If you want to do this all with just one, I'm going to
One
delete.
line, yeah.
Good God. Sorry, guys.
Delete at the top level. You can do it.
I don't want to delete everything. Okay, you can just say application. That was a nice name. And then we're going to change to, there's patterns and there's expressions. Here we're doing expressions. So regular expressions are the expression. So there's matches expression or does not match expression. And with one value, we could say does it have Google Chrome or Firefox? So we'll just make it very simple and say Google Chrome. And then there is an or, which is a pipe, or Mozilla Firefox. So this is the same way of kind of achieving that, where you can say, just show me everything that has either of these. One filter takes care of it. And then there's some additional, we'll get into the later, some additional powerful things that you can do. To start with, especially when you start getting to like negative look aheads and negative look behinds and stuff like that.
Negative look aheads? Isn't that called looking behind? I don't know, man.
One would think.
I'm trying to use
Context is important. Lex.
Absolutely.
Hey, Shane, can you open that report real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Just to kind of continue off the previous question, now that you have your filter all set up, now you can hit the big shiny new collection from report button.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
There
so
you
you've
go.
created. Thank you very much. So you have created. So we'll just say we'll change the name of this to Chrome and or Firefox. Okay. We'll save it. But there's a new collection from report. So you've created this. You can say I want to show this. Or this will now create the collection, but the collection only grabs the filters. Once again, because it's just going to
Show the
display
computers,
here.
yeah.
And it's called Chrome and or Firefox. We'll close that. And
Right at the bottom.
right at the bottom there, Chrome and or Firefox, and give it a second here.
Second to update. There it is. Boom.
So
Which
thank you
should be
very,
pretty
thank you very much. Yes, and you can do this back. You can also go the other way. You've created, like Lex created this VMware Tools latest. You can create. But is that out of the? Is that out of the?
New right here.
I know, but is that out of the window? Okay. Go to New, Report from Collection, and then it will automatically just throw in the computer for the columns. It won't add additional columns. You have to do that, but those filters are there.
Filters moved. Love it. Love it. Took the variable with too.
There, I would hope so, but that would suck.
That would.
Anyway, thank you very much. All right, so
Nested collections. When I say a nested collection,
Yeah.
okay, so this is kind of advanced features. Like I get a lot, I talk to a lot of customers, and they're like, "Hey, I want to update Java, but there are 3 machines that have to have this version of Java." So what I do is I said, "Look,
they don't want the latest version. There's an application they're running that requires an older version. These 3 machines are exempt from getting the new Java. So don't show them as vulnerable necessarily. I'm aware. That's what you're saying, right?
basically, it's like I want to automate the Java update without hitting these 3
Okay.
machines." So the first thing I did was I'm like, again, I'm the lazy sysadmin. I'm like, let's go take a look at our Java under runtimes. Runtimes, there it is. So I grabbed Java 8 because we had some Java 38 old. So what I did was I built a collection. Okay, I built a static collection with 2 machines in it that I didn't want to update. Crucibot and Jerry. Go ahead, sorry.
So static collection, remember, static collection, you don't fit criteria, you just actually add machines.
Those are the machines that
So Crucibot
need to
and Jerry.
retain the old Java.
Okay.
And then I built a Java 32-bit deploy collection. And basically, I did member of collection, the name equals that,
Okay.
off of the one that's going to update automatically. And I said not any of the machines that are in
And
the...
you're using member of collection, so you don't have to put versions in here because you're just saying, look in Java 8, 32-bit, old. We know if it's in that collection, it is in fact going to be an old version of Java. However, do not include any computer that's in retained old Java, so Jerry and Crucibot.
Absolutely.
And because you've got the all right here, that means that all of these tests have to return true, right?
Absolutely.
So this is a way of making sure if we say okay to this, we should not see Jerry or Crucibot.
Yep. So,
Are you confident? We're gonna.
yeah, pop the other one up, man. Take a look. Just go look at Java old, and it contains Jerry and
No, I'm just
Crucibot.
gonna remove that.
Ow.
So we should see Crucibot and Jerry pop in there pretty soon, right?
Boom.
There we go.
I should have bet on that. Interestingly enough, I showed this to Colby yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, that's cool. If you want to do it slow." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "No, Colby, enlighten us, please."
So there's actually 2 different ways to nest collections into each other. There's the member of collection, and You can do like name matching. So that one could be useful if, for example, you want like multiple collections just like based on a name, but
Okay.
it could also match ones unintentionally. And I believe this is the slower way to do it.
Okay.
The other way is in the computer table, and then the collection column. That one you actually point directly to the collection you want.
Yep, I'll show 'em that right now.
In the background, it ties them together by ID,
Cool.
and
So
I
thi-
believe this one's faster.
So there's member of collection. That's its own column. Then under the computer table, there is a collection. But notice now it just says is member or is not member. And here you have to choose from your existing collections. So we'll just go to deploy because I know it's got deploy in there. Java 32-bit deploy.
No, you want retain. Retain the old Java.
No, this is what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's now we change this to not any. Right?
Not anybody that's in this
Yeah,
collection
it's
that we're
deploy.
building.
Yeah, because this is the one we want the old, and
Okay.
then except for these guys. So
Okay.
right
You
now
just linked it
we
to
want
itself.
we want to just remove
Okay, ooh.
Crucibot and Jerry.
Okay, I know you don't believe me. Colby, say that again.
You just linked it to itself.
You want
Oh,
retain.
you're right. Thank you. I was so excited that you were mentioning this. I was like, oh, I think he's going to go into computer collection.
Go ahead and hit OK. I kind of think you'll get an error. Oh, you don't. Cool.
Cool.
No, it's going to probably... Yep, circular,
there it is.
circular reference.
Circular
yeah.
reference. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you. So here you want to just say,
Retain. It's the retain collection.
yeah, that's the one that I wanted to do.
Yep, right
Right.
there.
So change that to retain. All right. Sorry.
It's right there, bro. Oh, cool. Excellent.
And that remember we have every thank you both of you call me out. We have collection IDs. The cool thing about the collection ID when you're using this way is you could change the name of the referenced collection and it will still work. Whereas if you're using the other way, member of collection, and you're typing equals, you change one thing in that reference collection and it's going to screw it. Yeah, sure.
Right there. Hey, so Colby, what's the downside to this? You were telling me the only downside is if you export the collection
Yeah,
and import it.
I believe if you export it because it's tied to ID, it may grab the wrong collection if you import it. I don't remember if we changed that to try to account for that or not, but I believe you have to be careful if you're
Going to be
export
sharing,
this
if
one.
you're going to be exporting and let somebody else import it into another PDQ inventory database, the IDs are sequentially assigned.
Yep.
So you create a new collection, the next collection ID number is just incremented up by 1, and that's not going to be the same across. So there's pros and cons.
Absolutely.
Once again, the takeaway is there's a member of collection table, and then there's in the computer table there is a collection. There's a collection column that just says is member or is not member as the available comparisons. Yeah. So a question now.
Dear Shane and Lex, how can I create a custom collection for the FOG client? It appears under Applications in Inventory for Computers, but filtering on the version 0.11.12 does not work. The list is blank, even if it matches what's under the Applications tab. Thanks, Luke B.
Well, we would need to see your what your comparison is actually, and remember, there's actually making sure.
I want to just point this out.
The
If
versions.
you're doing application, use the version comparisons. All right. I mean, if you don't, it's going to consider it.
It's going to treat it as a string as opposed to an integer or a floating point.
Yeah.
So in this case, you want to use any of the comparisons when you're evaluating numbers. So you want greater than or lower than. Use anything that begins with a version, and then if you're still having a problem with that, send it to us, please, so we can evaluate it. Beginning with 0 is fine. So in the version you had 0 point. That's valid, but you could also probably get the same thing with version starting with 11. I think it was 0.11 or something like that. But as long as you're using the version comparisons, you should be fine. If not, by all means, send it to support. Since you didn't include that here, it's going to be kind of hard to troubleshoot, except to call out some gotchas
That we've just seen before, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, the version, when you see version, there's a few ways we'll obviously grab. So the reason why version is important is when you're evaluating something as a string. Let's see if I can do this here. Let's see. 9 dot is actually higher than 10 dot. This is higher when you're evaluating as a string because it evaluates from the first digit. 9 is higher than 1.
Yep.
When we do the version, we're looking at 10 because it's delimited by a period. We also include commas in there. 10 is higher than 9. So that's just an example of why you'd want to do that.
Yeah, just the different ways you evaluate those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we will evaluate, we used to only evaluate the first 3 delimiters. So effectively 4 positions. Number, dot, da, da, da. Now we'll keep going as far as your memory allows you or until we hit a non-comma, dot, or digit. And we also include spaces. So if you hit, an S or a B or something, that's where we'll stop.
Yep.
Okay? Do we have any more questions, or we can keep on digging? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, we got one right now.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Shane and Lex, we have a collection based on OU membership. A deployment schedule targets that collection. The schedule option, stop deploying to targets once they succeed, is checked. If a target received the package successfully and was moved out of the OU, then back into the OU at a later date, would the target receive the package again? Thanks, Michael R.
It's a great question, Michael R. The answer is, unless you have removed that, if the computer name is the same. Now, I don't know if we have any. Let's go to deploy. If we have any schedules, do we have any schedules here?
I think we might. I think I killed most of them because I wanted to keep the lab pristinely broken. So, what? Gotta have something to show, right?
He said pristine.
Pristinely broken.
Michael's schedule. So here you've got targets, and you're saying you're linking it to an Active Directory container. So we're gonna
center that, will you?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you. So we'll just do like web computers. So now we're linking this to web computers, and of course we'll need a package. We'll just attach something. We'll attach Chrome. So I'm not going to put a trigger in there now. So anyway, once you deploy to it deploys to those computers. It doesn't. The target is the computer in that OU. Like you said, it leaves the OU and then it comes back. The fact of the matter is we track the target history. And by the way, you were talking about in options, stop deploying to targets once they succeed. So the answer is it should still not, this schedule shouldn't deploy it because under the target history, you'll see the name of that computer, regardless of what OU it's in or if it's come back. That computer's there, and as long as it's there with a successful, it's not going to deploy again. Now you can delete it from the target history, and then it's open game if it's in that OU and it's been deleted. And you simply just highlight those targets you want and hit delete.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing to remember is that target history is off version number of Chrome. So,
oh, that's correct. So if you're using the like the auto deploy feature, and it's got this version of Chrome, a new version comes out, and that new package gets attached, then that target history gets erased.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Good call. So the answer is yes. It will still deploy.
okay, I want to show you. This is the one that always gets me. All right, you're going to love this, guys. So I'm going to build a new report, basic report. Okay, so we're going to call this installed. I'm going to steal the keyboard for a second.
Why don't you step over there?
Installed apps, because I can spell that. Computer, we'll get application name, we'll get application installed it. Okay. My filters is I want all applications, okay, where the install date is. Now here's where I start getting stuck, right? Like, all right, we'll just try this after, and I'm going to do a relative date. After
it's relative to whatever this is evaluated.
the date today when it's run, right? So applications installed after 3 days from now. That does not sound like what I want.
No, you want to go.
So, okay, so I go and I hit a go, right? Actually, let's just run that because I want to see. Obviously, nothing's going to show because I don't know what I'm installing in the future at this point, right?
We're not that good.
That would be amazing, though.
Wouldn't that be cool? So I hit a go here, right? Now, I should see, I think I installed some stuff yet. There we go. I installed some stuff yesterday. Boom.
Play around with these. Play around.
Now, it gets even more fun, okay? So now it's like I want kind of this rolling 2-week report, right? So I can see everything that's been installed, and it will say between. So now I've got 2 values.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and do this. Let's say I want to do it 14 days ago. Okay, and then I'm going to use a variable today.
Notice those are variables. When you click on that little variable icon, it gives you some variables that are both system and any custom variables that you have defined.
Now notice if you pick 2 of them, you saw what it did there?
Little X.
It made it not work. So that's how you make it not work the first time. Okay, so now this is kind of interesting. I ran this yesterday. And now it worked.
But
it didn't work yesterday.
It's because you did the
I did it. Okay, so this is really what I ran into, okay?
For.
So if I did date here, right? And then,
So if you use the variable in the first value,
okay, and then I used, let me clear this out here.
14, then yeah.
Then I do my 14 days relative, right?
So in other words, if you just switch the sequence,
And I run this, I get nothing.
and you were able to verify that as well, right, Colbster?
And basically, we actually went in and punched in the date. Go ahead, Colby.
Yeah, it's not because it's a variable. It's just the order of events.
Exactly. So once again, guys, order of events. If you don't get what you expect, because I knew I installed stuff, just switch these guys around.
Okay.
So
I like
and
that.
I love that. It's a nice dynamic report that gives me stuff that's been installed in the last couple of weeks.
That's fantastic. Thanks.
Get out my way.
So there's a couple of ways, like if you're using IPv4, which most of you are doing, there's a way you can actually create a collection based off of like a range of IPs, and there's not like do we have I'm going to click this little thing here. I want to see if we've got the IP address showing. No, let's go ahead and add that. There it is, IP address. We're going to show this now. I'm going to move this up.
You can drag and drop too.
Love the drag and drop feature.
So the drag and drop that you're talking about is scroll over where there's IP address. I can just grab that column and move it over here. There we
Well,
go.
actually, as of 17, you can drag and drop in
Oh,
that edit
right
window.
from that
That's
window
right.
in there, yeah. So anyway, the reason I'm doing this is, let's just take a quick peek. IP address 172.16. So let's say I want to grab I want to show all computers that are, well, here, let's do it. I'm going to grab a dynamic collection. We'll call it 172, is it
16.
Dot 100 to 115. Okay.
I don't think we've got. You probably should put the .99 in there if you're getting the last octet.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just want to make sure.
Yep, you're right. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to look for just those 100 to 115, right? So in the computer, there is the IP address, and then the comparison, you can say version between, I believe that should work, and then you're going to say 172.16.99.100, and then this one would be,
You're using version because of those dots.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So this one should show just those computers. Been a long time since I've done this, so watch it screw up here. Those are the ones, and if we look at the IP address, they fit that.
Can you do that with regular expression?
Yeah, but it's you've got this here.
Yeah,
You
this
really want
works.
to-
Sorry, I was just saying that's another way to go. Regular expression on that.
I'm going to show you an example of where regular expressions were really important.
Okay.
If you go not in the collection library necessarily, or in the collection library, in the built-in collections, we have Microsoft Office.
Office, yes.
So if you look at Microsoft Office, there's so many different ways over the years that Microsoft Office displays itself. So if you just very simple, open this up. Notice we're using an expression, a regular expression, as our comparison. And then we're going to show you, these are, if you can see that, these are just some negative look-aheads, right? So what are we doing here? What we're saying is, this is why an expression comes in. With one value, we can say, show us anything where the application name, the name of the application says, includes Microsoft Office. But Nowhere in that entire name can it say viewer or web components or project or Visio or SharePoint. We've there's a lot of different Office components that if we just said show us everything with Microsoft Office, people were saying I've got a machine that's got Microsoft Office web components but nothing else, and it's showing up collection, but it doesn't actually have Office. This is a way without having to just overload with filters to say using an exclamation or question mark exclamation point, and then the dot and the splat is just it can't contain viewer. Nowhere in the string can it contain viewer. Nowhere. And then as you go to the end, let's just see if we can't. Boy, this is so long. Tell me if this is getting off the screen. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. Now, we're going to change that. If we dig down into like 16, it's kind of the same thing except for nowhere can it include viewer components or anything. And then it does have to have somewhere after Microsoft Office, doesn't matter where, as long as it's after Office, it has to have 2016. But it can't have any of those others. That's a great example. Remember, there's a lot of cheat sheets for you. This is a great example of regular expressions. This one, we're confident will say 2016. But we also found some 2016 names that didn't begin with Microsoft Office. They were called 2016 Microsoft Office System.
Yep.
So that's why we added a second filter there, just to make it a little bit more readable.
You know, it's interesting. I do the cheat sheet. It takes me about 50 to 60 minutes to get in that. And then once I'm doing it, I can do regular expressions fast. But
Yep. Then there's also patterns. So there's matches expressions, matches patterns. Pattern is it's really just wildcards, and there's two types of wildcards. So we could say let's do a new dynamic collection. We'll go Firefox. Let's make this window smaller. And we'll change it to application name, and then we're going to just say matches expression
Or
pattern. Matches pattern. So matches pattern. We could say splat Firefox
so it could be anything.
and splat. So as long as it contains anything before or after, it doesn't matter. As long as somewhere in there it says Firefox. If you're using a pattern, that will evaluate as wildcards.
Now, if there's nothing before Firefox, that splat takes nothing into consideration.
Correct. If there's nothing, the splat is 0 or more matches.
Okay.
All right. Then there's another one that's not used as much. It's the question mark. The question mark is
Single character.
a wild card for just one single character.
Yeah.
We actually have an example of that. If you take a peek at the Adobe, I'm going to go to it.
And the great thing about this, while Shane's pulling this up, is these are amazingly good examples that are right there at your fingertips to go and cheat from. That's what I do. You saw me do it. I copied, and that VMware thing was a complete plagiarism.
Ha!
So-
Back in 2015, Adobe, for their Acrobat and Reader lines, they came up with Document Cloud, DC. And there's different versioning scheme, and it took us a day to figure this out. But what constitutes Adobe Reader DC, I'm going to expand this, Classic and DC Document Cloud, which is just the continually updated. Yeah, the Classic is only, this version, it's basically like 15, and will only supply security updates. How do we tell which one's which? They both say Adobe Reader DC. So if you look for Classic, notice we are using some variables here. Right? In fact, I'm going to just I'm going to duplicate this. This is how you can. Now I've made this. It's out of the collection library. There's still the original one in there, but now I can kind of modify this. And yes, I'll send it out. Perfect. Boy, we want to make this. There's that right there.
Significantly larger.
All right, so Adobe Reader DC. What are we looking at? Click that. It's got to have Adobe Acrobat Reader DC in the name.
This is a variable, yep.
But the pattern, notice we've got an exclamation or a question mark and a splat. So here we know why. We're sitting here saying this has got to begin with, it's most likely going to be like 15, but it could be 16. We don't know, but we know it's going to begin with 1 and then a digit. That's why we've got an exclamation point there. Question mark. It would match 15, it would match 6, 7, it doesn't matter. and then a dot splat, then a dot 30. Why? Because Adobe Reader DC and Classic are separated by that third position. If it's 30, it's a Classic. If it's a 20, it is Adobe Reader DC. So there's a lot of power that you have here. I'm going to open this up. Notice how it begins with 20. I'll hold this up here. Oh, there. 20. See that third position? 19.012.20.
20.
So if the third position, the first digits are 20, it is Document Cloud Continual. If it's 30, so this is how we've matched that.
Yep.
Just
Aren't
to
you guys
show.
glad he's figured that out and you don't have to? I am.
I'm going to open this up just so I can just see this, because that was looking at the latest. Notice how instead of 30, that third position, just to say you are Adobe Reader DC continuous, you have to have the third position beginning with 20.
Absolutely. Any other questions, JJ?
And it is time for the speed round. Dear Shane and Lex, I would like to know how to run a PC inventory report where it lists the computer name, manufacturer name, model, processor, and memory. Sincerely, Lou C.
Go ahead and keep that going. Well, this is not really a speed round one. Go to basic report.
Computer.
Yeah, so we're not even going to bother
Name,
naming it. So you want the computer? Give me the rest of them.
Computer name, manufacturer name.
There's the manufacturer. Okay.
You got to put that back up. Couldn't remember that. whole thing.
Yeah, please keep that up there.
Trying to show.
Model,
Okay.
processor, and then memory.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Let's see, where is
Processor
it? Is it
table, I
CPU?
Yeah, CPU. That's right.
No, is it going to be?
I think it's in a processor table, man.
Oh, okay.
CPU table. Boom.
There we go. And it was the model
Processor.
Okay. And the next one was what?
The now I forget the last one. What was it?
Memory.
Memory.
Now there's
memory.
two. There's a couple of memories. There's one in computer. It's memory. That's where we take. Otherwise, there's also physical. So if you run this, it should give you that information for. Let's change it. Notice, why is it only showing this one? That was the collection that we had selected right there. It's
Absolutely.
only going off of that one. So we're going to change the select collection source. Go up here to all computers.
There you go.
There you go. That answer. Hopefully that answers that. Next.
Next.
Dear Shane and Lex, I have some software that will update automatically. Is there a way to get a notification when a scan reports a version greater than what you have for a collection so you can update the version number for that particular collection? Thanks, Jeremy O.
Not from us. You need to see if there's something from the vendor.
What about this? What if you write that report that says, show me anything installed, but show me the specific software installed on that report in the last so many days, right? And so,
Yeah, but the question was, I can get alerted when it changes?
what if you run it
So
every day?
it
That's
would have
a
to update
painful alert. but-
Itself, right?
If it's not something that
Yeah.
we keep track of in the collection library, because if we keep track of it, chances are it's going to get updated fairly quickly.
Yeah.
If it's a vendor that we don't keep track of, you're going to need to get on a mailing list or something like that so that when the new version comes out, you can change it.
Kind of a workaround, though. You could run that report and just look at it
Yeah,
every
you
day.
could have a report set, an auto report. We should do a new webcast on that. Auto report set to send reports of these versions however often you want.
And our final question of the day, where did Shane get that awesome hat? Thanks, Mark K.
I want to know how many kangaroos died for that thing.
I think I have 9 or 10 of these hats. I get them in Australia.
I love it.
Yeah. When we started our company, our main developer, Adam, who grew up in Utah with us, but he lived in Australia for 10 years. So I would go to Australia quite a bit, and I just fell in love with the kangaroo hats. So there you go.
When they make those kangaroo hats, they kill baby kangaroos.
I thought it was a giraffe.
Either way,
Is that
something
where
happens.
kangaroo hats come from?
Kangaroo hats
Is that
from
it?
dreads.
So please don't forget difference between expressions, difference between regular expressions, expression match patterns. So use those, please. Use the cheat sheets, everybody.
Absolutely. Copy and paste, duplicate, nest your collections.
I loved the fact that you were doing the between, et cetera, et cetera. Play around with those. Check it out. If you have any questions, by all means, ask Colby. We will
Not
talk
us.
to you guys later.
Catch y'all later. I'm Lex.
I'm Shane.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Nikki M. and Luke B., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.